So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your influences. Like what got you into this style of music? Like what bands were like your core influences for being in a band like the of this nature, a band that's so heavy and chaotic?
Well, I have to say, like the first like introduction to like heavy music I had was a compilation of Little John and Korn doing like a Run DMC Aerosmith type deal. You know what I mean? And they
Uh-huh.
and that was like fifth grade, and I was like, oh my god, like what is this like super intense music? And then I started just going down the rabbit trail, you know, Bullet for My Valentine, Slipknot, all that kind of stuff. And eventually I was like introduced to a venue in my hometown, um, and the Seven venue. And that community there was like what got me into heavy music, just like being there all the time, working there, sleeping there, you know, even before I was just like being interested in shows, you know, really important to, I feel like to have just like a good all ages venue, because that's the main thing that like got me in.
That's cool. Yeah, the metal is such a tight knit community. Heavy music in general. I mean, I grew up in Salt Lake City area,
Yeah.
and it's like there wasn't a lot to do, so it was kind of like hardcore metal shows, like all that kind of stuff was just like always such a breath of fresh air because you bring all these people together and everybody can just get crazy, and it's always a safe environment too. I went to a death metal concert Sunday night in LA, and it was like in this dark warehouse in this really crappy part of town, but it was just like such a good vibe, like because everyone there was so in it.
Yeah.
So
That's really that's like the same thing for me. Like such a tight knit community, and when that venue like finally closed down, like just the all the people that I knew were like so starved for shows that they would like start doing house shows and stuff like that, and like 200 people would come out. You know what I mean? They were so starved and just didn't want to. I don't know if they couldn't make it to Atlanta or whatever, but like it's still awesome how they like made it work. Still,
yeah, that's like such the ethic too. Like I feel like it's always been that way. I mean, I was talking to Dino from Fear Factory a couple months ago about he like when they started out, they would play these backyard shows in LA. And the way that they do it out there on the east side is they'll have like some heavy like grindcore bands, and then like once it gets dark, they bring a DJ in, and it's like a barbecue slash like dance party, you
yeah.
know. But it's and then they charge like $5 a head. Like they'll rope off the backyard, and like whoever runs the place makes a couple bucks, and everybody wins.
It's like the most inclusive show ever.
Yeah, it's those are the best too. Like so many bands come out of that. I feel like too. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in Atlanta?
Yeah, for the better part of my life, like I grew up in Georgia, Atlanta, Douglasville, Marietta. But
Awesome.
I'm originally from Foley, Alabama,
Okay.
down there
From the
by.
South.
Huh?
From the South.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because Atlanta, obviously well known for the hip hop scene there. But
Yeah.
there's so many great bands that come out of Atlanta. Like I was thinking about it, like just off the top of my head, Mastodon and Norma Jean are two bands that I love that came out of there.
They're like Norma Jean, the Chariot, especially. You know,
Chariot.
being the venue, the owner of the venue that I like grew up in, his son-in-law was Josh Scoggin from the Chariot.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and so we would have like there were a couple of Christmases, like, he was there, I was there, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't, this is like my idol right now. I don't even know what to do. He's across the room. You know what I
That's
mean?
dope.
I had an ex that was like, her brother-in-law was in Ludacris, which was like,
The original
right.
Norma Jean.
Yeah. Yeah. So he like came out to a show last week. So it's just like such a small world in like the heavy community too.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's what I was so impressed when I heard your stuff because I'm like, wow, this I've never heard a band this hard coming out of Atlanta in a while. Because Seven Dust is from there. Mastodon's heavy, but like Norma Jean and the Chariot are like the last time I heard stuff that's as abrasive as what you guys are putting out from Atlanta. So I was like, Awesome.
Thank you so much. It like such a breath of fresh air to hear that too. Like just like sitting on the album, I really like. We really appreciate that. Like the positive feedback has just been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the way that the world is right now, the state of things, I feel like abrasive music is just so fitting. There's so much anxiety and so much like crazy things going on, and maybe it's because we're in a transformational period, or who knows. But I like. Have you ever heard of the band Vision of Disorder?
I haven't.
Like in the late 90s, there was a period where I got like way into like the East Coast hardcore, and it was bands like Vision of Disorder, Candiria, Madball, H2O, stuff like that. And it has like Vision of Disorder specifically just has this like, it's like such an abrasive vibe, but there's still like such a positive energy in it. And I kind of get the same thing from what you guys are doing. So
That's really beautiful, man. Like to even like put us up there, and the zeitgeist of inspiration that you just mentioned. That's really beautiful. I do like especially like writing this album. I did want some like positive emotional elements to come out of it for sure. Just I feel like that depth or texture, if you will, kind of ends up lending itself to making it more heavy, because it's not, it's like the silence before the storm. The thunderclap sounds louder because there's silence, like
right,
kind of how it is, or how I look at it at least,
the dynamics.
Yeah.